Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be reviewing the Bryton Rider 17 GPS bike computer. Bryton's new Rider 17 is one of their latest entry-level GPS cycling computers that offers accurate GPS tracking at an affordable price point. The Rider 17 replaces the previous Rider 15 Neo, with the most obvious upgrades being the larger screen and additional sensor connectivity options. Packaging-wise, you just have the white and green coloring that Bryton is known for. Nice representation of the computer on the back side. And a lot of the features printed here, as well as this nice glossy one right off the front. I'll go ahead and open this up and we'll go over the specs. So retail price on this is $69.95, so quite affordable. You have a really big 3-inch LCD screen with a 25-hour runtime. You have integrated GNSS GPS compatibility, which means you can use this around the world as it supports 5 different networks. You also have radar support, which is really cool to see at this price point. You can get heart rate, speed, cadence, as well as the bike radar display. It also supports 2 bike profiles, so you can set up a commuter and a road bike option if you want to track the odometer separately or configure the sensor separately. As far as what comes with it, you can see it's pretty simple. We have the computer itself. We have a safety tether, which is kind of surprising for such a small computer. A very basic handlebar mount, so you can see it just uses O-rings. And then this hook design that can go on a stem or on your handlebar. You have the instruction manual as well to help you get started. Now let's take a look at the weight of the computer. So with the little screen cover off, the computer comes to 61 grams, so pretty lightweight. Visually, the Rider 17 mimics a smooth corner design of Bryton's premium S series of GPS computers. And despite only being $70, it boasts a really large 3-inch LCD display. You have a nice thin profile with thin bezels above and below it that gives it a premium look. And the whole thing is only 12.8 millimeters thick with these nice smooth corners that make it look a lot more expensive than it really is. This is basically a plastic construction with the base molded directly into place. And then you can see a glossy screen on top. Basic branding, you have Bryton on the front, and then Bryton on the bottom, as well as labels for the 3 physical buttons. This is a non-touch screen, which is why you have the buttons, and it's not surprising at this lower price point. Mounting-wise, you can see you have the Bryton base. So it looks very similar to a Garmin base, but the tabs here are actually a little bit thicker. So it will go into a Garmin base, but it'll end up deforming your Garmin base and then bending these tabs. So we recommend using the included simple handlebar mount or purchasing the Bryton out front mount. Companies like KOM Cycling also offer Bryton adapters with a lot of their out front mounts, which we'd highly recommend investing in. As far as the display, you can see it uses a segmented LCD display, and that means everything's kind of pre-arranged. So if you look at this at certain angles, you can actually see all the labels and where they might go and the number of regions. So it's a very restrictive design and something that's very common at the sub $100 price point. You don't have a high density pixel display. Instead, everything's sort of pre-arranged and it's very limiting. Bryton has made the most of the 3-inch display though. You have 4 rows, notification tab on the top, main display region near the top, and then 2 rows on the bottom for sensors or other information. They've also added this kind of cool compass display on the top left. So this will show your heading, which is kind of cool. It's a little arrow and a line. And then if you can see if you angle this at the right angle, it'll either be south, north, east, or west. You don't have real navigation here, obviously, with this kind of display. You just can't do it. But you do see basic headings, and that can help with navigation. The user interface is also pretty simple. You have 4 buttons. The left button is a little bit weird. It's the power one, and this is not a button. It's the bottom button. Then on the right side, you have the controls for play, pause, and stopping. And then on the bottom, you have the page cycling. So there's 5 pages by default. And there's a manual bike light. If I hold it, you can see the backlight's on. And if I hold it again, it will turn off. So one downside of the cheaper computers, there's no light sensor. So you do have to manually turn on the backlight. Controls are really simple though. Hold the power button, turn it on and off. To start a recording, you simply hit the record button. You can see here you have kind of a variable display where it said go. You can manually pause it, and this says, do you want to continue or not? If you want to continue, say okay. And then if you want to stop it, I can click and hold. And you can see it saved the data it had. So pretty simple, but again, very restrictive. But using the Bryton app, you can actually customize the content. So you can see there are quite a few options with each field, which is kind of surprising, especially at the lower price point. So you can see a really simple display, and you can actually see all the grids and the overlays even with it powered off. And that's because it's just overlaid on the screen itself. It's a very simple screen. When you power it on, you get a basic animation, and then you can see I'll be searching for the GPS signal based on the little icons on the top. It's a very simple computer. Because it's a budget computer, you can see everything's pre-laid out, and you have basic icons and indicators to show what screen you're on. And I'll basically cycle through options. Using the app, you can customize some of this, so you can change what's on each screen. But again, very limited. You can't change things drastically. The layout is pretty set, and you can only just change some of the basic parameters. There are some configuration options. So if I click the bottom left button, I can set the bike profile, and you actually get two profiles here, which is nice. So you can have different sensors or different configuration options to customize it. You can set the altitude, which is nice. So you can calibrate that depending on your actual location. Sync is kind of confusing a word here, but it's actually sensor connection. So if you want to do that, we can click the top right button. So we'll scan. And then you can see you have a limited little word area here, a little more dense pixel display. If I spin things around, you can see this will search for a heart rate monitor, which I don't have. So this should time out. Then we should be able to cancel out of this as well. You additionally have the unit option, so you can set either the metric or you can make it imperial. So we'll set it to miles per hour, the bottom right button, and then the top right button will set that. You can see here we're in Fahrenheit, so I'm going to leave that for temperature. And then we can go to the next option, or exit out completely. So if we go back through here, you can set the distance odometer, which is a nice feature. So if you're transferring from a different computer, you can actually set the odometer, which is a feature some of these computers lack. So if you already have some mileage, you can set that here. And then you can do a factory reset, and that's all the options you can do. Pressing the bottom left button will return back. And you can see now we have the GPS with the little indicator in that now shows we're there. To start a ride, it's really simple. You just press this top right, and you can see it says go. You have a little indicator. Then you have auto pause too. So pretty nice setup and pretty simple to use. Obviously, you have less customization options compared to the higher end computers. Now let's take a look at the Bryton in action. As you can see here, it's really easy to start a ride. You just hit play, and then you get a nice indicator to go, and then you have a little blinking light to indicate the recording's on. What's cool about the computer is you can see with the backlight on, it's a nice, big, high contrast screen at 3 inches with the black and white display. You can definitely see this in any type of light, and the backlight is very strong, which is nice. They've also done a really good job with the little text indicator with that grid on the top. So here you can see it says alert car, which again, another really cool feature. So they can really adapt the text here, which is unusual for these kind of preset grids. So it's a nice combination. And even though the radar display is a little bit hard to see with the black and little small car indicators, it's still a nice feature. You don't typically have radar support at these lower price points. Otherwise, the compass feature is a little bit more gimmicky, not really that useful compared to a map. And then when you're done riding, it's very simple. You just stop, hit the stop button, and you have to press the confirmation that you want to save it. And then you're pretty much done. So pretty nice computer, good customization. And for $70, it's quite a bit of value as you have that big giant screen. We actually have quite a few Bryton computers already. So you can see the old S500 here. The S500 is their more premium lineup. So compared to the 17, you can see color touchscreen, a lot nicer to use and more features. We also have the new 510, and you can see very similar design. They're almost identical in the shape. This one gets the accent color. You get the swappable puck, which is nice. With this one, you're stuck with the Bryton mount. But with the S series, you can actually just swap these out, which is a really nice feature. But again, color touchscreen. which gives you a lot more features, as well as the climb challenge, which you don't get with this, obviously. At the higher end, they also have the S800, a lot bigger. So bigger screen, a lot more features, but quite a bit more expensive. The more fair comparison here is something like the Shannon Max 30. So also a 3-inch display, but you can see the aspect ratio is a little bit different. The Bryton is a little bit more squared off, while this is a little bit longer. But similar design features. You can see you have a predefined grid, and with the Shannon, you can see it's a brighter display, but similar features. And this Shannon also lets you sync up to their rear RAS Pro, which is kind of a cool feature that'll light up this little indicator with the same color as the taillight and the same flashing pattern. With the Bryton, you get the compass built in here, so you kind of have an idea of heading, but otherwise a nice display. Magine also has some color options. This is the C606, I believe. So a bit more expensive, obviously, with the color touchscreen. More standard Garmin mount rather than Bryton. The more equivalent one here might be like the BS C100 series. We have the 300 here, which adds color and navigation, but their lower 100 would be more similar to this. And you can see similar size, but the nice thing about the big 3-inch screen is you can really see everything. So it's a nice compromise. It's cool to see the radar option at such a low price as well. Now let's take a look at the Bryton Active app. With the Rider 17, you can see it's a pretty simple computer, so you don't have a lot of options, but on the Bryton app, you can see you have your overview of activities with little graphics of your route. You can create routes, workout plans, live track. With this one, you can't really do any routes because there's no navigation, so you wouldn't use this page that much. On your profile, you can set the units, and you have third-party linking, so you can actually set up a link to quite a few options, which is nice. Bryton does ride with GPS, Strava, Training Peaks, so tons of options there, which is nice. And then under the little configuration option, you can see we're connected to the Rider 17. We can see the firmware version, the battery status. You can set up notifications, which is pretty cool for such a simple computer. You can get email or call alerts on the little basic upper display text area. You have 2 bike profiles, which is nice, so you can enable, disable them, set up the sensors for each. And then on the overview, you can see odometer readings, altitude gain, loss, which are nice little metrics. You can also do some basic configuration of the pages. So if I go to grid settings, you can see I have all 5 pages enabled by default. On each of the pages, you can do some very basic adjustment. Obviously, compared to the other Bryton computers, you're quite limited. You can't exactly add a ton of options. You can really only adjust the bottom. So whether you want to do a single field here or split. And then for each of the options, you do have a couple options, and that's just based on whatever titles are available. So it is pretty nice to see so many options on a basic computer. So you can actually change different values here and show them on this one field, thanks to the little configurable design. And you can do that for each of the pages, but again, you can't drastically change the layout because obviously it's a predefined grid. Aside from that, you can just do the other basic settings, so general settings, ketone, sound, some other features that are not available directly on the app, so turning off the sound, auto lap, you have to come back here rather than the basic configuration menu that we have on the device, and that's just limited to a couple basic options. Now let's go over the pros and cons for the Bryton Rider 17. What we like about it, it's very budget friendly at only $70. It has a lot of great features like the 3-inch screen and the support for bike radar, which is really unusual at this price point. You also have pretty nice customization options. Even though you have a preset grid design, you can really mix and match which fields go where, as there's a lot of options for each field. The main negative is the fact you have a Bryton specific mount. It's a little bit thicker than Garmin, so you do want to use the right Bryton adapter or mount. And it has a manual backlight, which is common at this price point, instead of having a light sensor to automatically turn on and off, which is the downside of a budget computer. Taking everything into account, we'd give the computer a 9.3 out of 10. It's a nice, large, budget-friendly cycling computer that's a big upgrade from the Bryton Rider 15 Neo. Thanks for watching this review. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can see more content from us on our website at thesweetcyclist.com, as well as follow us on Instagram with The Sweet Cyclist. This is The Sweet Cyclist reminding you to enjoy the ride.